tonight, more than 7 million American households are on the brink of losing their homes as the federal eviction moratorium put in place at the beginning of the pandemic expires tomorrow. The House is adjourned for its August recess without passing the extension Speaker Pelosi called a moral imperative. As President Biden's urging, Democratic lawmakers spent the day working on 11th-hour legislation to avert the crisis. Last month, the Supreme Court ruled any new extensions need to come from Congress. The more than $46 billion provided by Congress for rental relief, only $3 billion had been distributed by states through June. And in a statement tonight, President Biden called on state and local governments to immediately disperse funds given the imminent end of the moratorium, adding that there is no legal barrier to moratorium at the state and local level. Meanwhile, notices have already started going out, appearing on front doors across the country as courts prepare to allow evictions. Families across the country are bracing for disaster.
It will put me in a panic mode because at this point I'm stuck in between not knowing what's going to go on with my living situation as well as still trying to be a mother to my children the best way I can.
I have no idea where I'll go, what I'll do. We haven't been really saving money because we've been putting what we have towards the rent.
My savings is depleted. It's totally depleted. And the moratorium it's necessary. It's extremely necessary.
Absolutely devastating. Joining me now on the phone, New York Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez of New York, Missouri Congressman Cori Bush, and Massachusetts Congresswoman Ayanna Pressley. Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez, I want to start with you. Can you walk us through what happened tonight? The moratorium extension not brought to the floor for a vote. The effort to pass it by unanimous consent was blocked by Republicans. And now the House is going home?
Yes. So, what we saw today was, frankly, a lot of lack of clarity in what was happening on the floor. And eventually what this concluded in, after negotiations all day in trying to secure the votes to extend the eviction moratorium, the House decided to try to pass in the eviction moratorium extension by unanimous consent. Although Republicans objected, the fact of the matter is that this was not just Republicans who objected to this. There were not the votes present. And so we cannot hide when we have a Democratic majority that is capable of passing legislation. We cannot hide behind the Republican Party in the lack of ability to extend the eviction moratorium. And so what we want and what we were trying to do, Congresswoman Bush and I ran into the House floor in order to attempt a roll call vote on the motion to adjourn, to make sure that we could get people at least on the record saying, I want to leave town or I don't want to leave town. And unfortunately, there was a rush to adjourn the House before Congresswoman Bush and I were capable of doing so.
Representative Bush, can you pull back the curtain for us and give us a sense of what was holding up those negotiations that you and your colleagues were engaged in all day?
What I want to say about this is, look, at the end of the day, the work that we did, we thought that we were doing everything that we could. But when there are people and structures, when there is power that says we have a particular thing that we want to do, for us, we've been trying to figure out every single way that we could, like, how can we get this to stop? What can we do? And we're still here. We're still at the Capitol trying to figure out what we can do, But for me, I'm looking at everything. I'm thinking about every single person that's about to be on the street. I'm thinking about every single person that is on the street. And we complain that we have to do something about homelessness. We complain that we need to do something about COVID-19 and the transmission. We have governors like my own who won't accept federal funds for unemployment benefits. But then now we're here. So we have so many people who are in desperate need right now. I know because I'm one of those people. I've been there. I know what it's like to be tossed out and not know where to go and to have to still take care of your children. So this is disturbing. This is appalling. And as lawmakers, that is a failure. It's a moral failure. It's a policy failure. And as leaders, we do not deserve to serve if we won't take care of those people that actually have needs right now, and we won't help them.
Representative Pressley, just a short time ago, Speaker Pelosi addressed the breakdown. Take a listen.
Really, we only learned of this yesterday. There was not enough time to socialize it within our caucus as well as to build the consensus necessary.
So, Congresswoman Presley, should the White House have given Congress more notice to get this done? And now, given the state that this is in, is there more they can do?
Absolutely, we should have had more notice. And where we're at right now, I think the point is, and I agree with Speaker Pelosi's earlier point, that it was a moral imperative to extend this eviction moratorium. So the fact that we did not do that is a moral failing. We are standing on the precipice of a national tent city, an eviction tsunami, in the midst of spikes of the Delta variant. Eviction is already violent, but to do that in the midst of a pandemic when we are seeing spikes of the Delta variant is unconscionable. I have been talking with mayors and municipal leaders in my district all day. They have talked about the fact that the utility shutoff moratorium ended. People are being met with balloon payments on their utilities. They cannot pay the rent. They are asking for more time. The states have the funds. They have the infrastructure to get it out. The urgent need is there, but they need more time now. The House is adjourned, but we still have other levers that we can pull, and we should be exhausted in our efforts in this House to ensure that people stay in their houses. And so our options are the House can reconvene. That's one option. The second would be that the Senate, which is still in session right now, they could extend this moratorium. And then the third option finally would be for the CDC to act.
Representative Ocasio-Cortez, your message to these families now facing eviction, and how do your colleagues explain this at home during recess?
I frankly don't know how colleagues, especially those who decided to get on a plane instead of stay here in Washington and try to figure this out, explain it to their constituents. But one thing that I can say for our constituents back at home is that we will fight for you, and we are not stopping right now. We are going, the immediate lever right now, and the immediate thing to do is to start seeking these moratoriums on local and state levels, but we have to go further than that. We need a widespread guarantee. I believe that the House should reconvene in order to get this done and force a vote on this, but we will keep going until we exhaust all levers on this. And I think that everyday people need to call their members of Congress right now and let them know that they need to go back to work. This is not a time to go on vacation. This is a time to save people's right to housing and be able to remain housed.
Congressman
We're
Bush.
all in the Financial Services Committee, and Chairwoman Waters, who led the fight for this emergency bill, agrees that we should have fought harder.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Congresswoman Bush, as you said, this is, of course, personal for you, and the moratorium sort of puts the spotlight on this issue and marks it as a crisis moment. Beyond the crisis moment, beyond the moratorium, you have said we need to just fundamentally reimagine how we approach the unhoused crisis by 2025. What's that going to look like?
What we're saying is we just introduced our legislation, the Unhoused Bill of Rights, that says this country can eradicate homelessness by 2025. We can do it now, actually, but we can eradicate it by 2025. We need time to build the homes, but we can eradicate it by 2025. But what we're saying right now, by adding possibly 6-7 million people, then what we're saying is we're not trying to even bring up the people, help the people that are already homeless, and that's not okay, because then we'll turn around. Let's be clear. We'll turn around and show up at the homeless shelter at Thanksgiving and take photo ops handing out turkeys, and no, but you put them there. Let's be clear. You put them there, and you didn't help bring up and put the people that were already unhoused in homes. And so that's a shame. And so that's why we're still here. And for me, when I think about this is the thing, the mindset, what goes through your mind when you are sleeping outside and there is no safety. It gets cold when it wants to get cold and you can't control it. It gets hot when it wants to get hot and you can't control that either. Let me tell you, there's no amount of blankets that you can put on to be warm enough when it's cold outside at night. And so I hope that all of our colleagues are paying attention to this and realizing that there's a mistake, because we can correct it. There's still time to correct it. You can come back here to this Capitol. You can show up and we can get this thing done, or we can put pressure where pressure is needed. We are freaking Congress. Let's get this thing done.
Representatives Bush, Presley, Ocasio-Cortez, thank you all so much you.